Salut YouTube, and Sophie here, welcome back. Today's video is going to be my update for Project Yarnathon. This was created by Andrea from the channel Pretty as a Peacock. I will link her channel down below. And basically this project was created for us to use up the length of marathon of out of yarn. Yes. When I started this project, I did not have enough yarn to do this challenge. Far from it, but I guess watching it and then watching some more knitting and crochet YouTube, I bought a lot of yarn and now I can do it. So it's been 2 months since I last updated this project. I actually had some finished objects by like when I wanted to film an update in January, but I just didn't have the time. I don't have a lot more, but we're going to talk about it. Also, I have already filmed this once, but I was just stumbling over my words and I thought it was going to be a nightmare to edit, so I'm starting over. Hopefully it's not going to be as long as my previous attempt was. So let's get into it. Alright, let's first start with my finished objects. I have one baby blanket here. Let's go on Ravelry. Yeah. Okay, so this blanket is my magic number blanket, and it's from Helen Cosgrove Davis. I believe this is how you say it. And I was also inspired by the Cotton Chenille Baby Blanket by Susan Druding, because the magic number blanket is a square, but I prefer my blanket to be rectangular. So this is how mine is looking like. I was using a yarn from Hobie. This was the yarn in collaboration with Tony from TL Yarn Crafts, and this is the Happy Place Solid. I used 4 balls. I used this one, the blood orange, is called Red Delicious. I used the cream one, which is called Almond. I used 2, and I used this peach, which is conveniently called Peach. And as you can see here, I have some more Red Delicious because I sadly ran out of yarn. I chose this blanket because I wanted to completely use the yarn for this blanket, but again I ran out of yarn, and I did not have any peach left, but I originally bought 2 Red Delicious, so I stole a little bit from my second ball, which is not really gonna count in this blanket in my numbers, because when I weighted the second ball, it was like an untouched ball is supposed to be 100 grams, and the ball after the little bit of yarn stolen was still more than 100 grams, so I'm just gonna ignore that fact. So in the end, to do this blanket, I used up 4 balls of Happy Place, and that's 1000 meters. This is for a friend of mine who's pregnant, and that's for a baby boy. Yes, because for me these are neutral colors. He's a spring baby, hopefully, if everything goes well. He's going to be a spring baby, and for me these are spring colors. Also, to me, orange is a neutral color. So I really like the pattern. It was pretty easy to follow. I mean, this is garter stitch, so you only need, it is worked flat obviously, and I still have not blocked it. because I'm too lazy to do it. So that's my first finished object. My second is, surprise surprise, another baby blanket. This one is crocheted. I forgot. So like I said, I used Happy Place, and I also used 4mm knitting needles, and this is 90 centimeters over 70 centimeters, more or less. And I started it on December 10th and I finished it on January 6th. So it's been done for quite a while. So the second baby blanket. The second baby blanket is the metered tulips blanket. And that's from Agathe Rodman. So like I said, this is a crochet blanket. This one is square though, because I thought the like angled motif would not look good in a rectangle, so I stayed with a square. This one is 1 meter wide and 1 meter long because this is a square. This is, or this was for well, the baby of another friend of mine. Sadly, she lost it before I could give the blanket to her, so I don't really know what to do with it. I really like the blankets. I have some negative points about it that are only from my mistakes, not the pattern really, but I don't know, I really like the colors. So where to start? Okay, so first of all, this blanket has 4 colors. I'm not sure you're going to see them. It has, the cream is the main color. Here you have white, you have like a blend of yellow, orange and yellow, and here a blend of, or more like a mix of different yellows. And this is also how the border looks, and the pattern does not really have a border. I think it's like single crochet all around, and I like borders on blankets, so I decided to add mine, and I really like how it looks. So like I said, this is a crochet blanket. I used a 3.5 millimeters crochet, and I used up 1196 meters of yarn, which is way, I believe this is way more than the pattern suggests. Well, maybe not, because the pattern here suggests between 1097 meters and 1372 meters, I guess. So anyway, something does not add up in this pattern when we are talking about the amount of yarn needed. She said you need like 4 skeins of the main color, 100 grams of one of the like accent color, 50 grams of the second, and 25 grams of the third accent color. I know I did not really follow the order of the accent color, but still I'm far from having used that much. So I used way more of the main color. I used almost 950 meters of the main color where I was supposed to use like 600 and something. I think it was 672 meters. I used 946 meters of the main color, so way more. And it was Hobie Black Friday Cotton 8/4 in 2 natural white. And for the accent colors, I was trying to use yarn scraps, except for the color where I needed 100 grams, which I had 2 skeins of 50 grams, so that was perfect. But what I ended up doing is I only used 20 grams of the white, 34 grams of the yellow, and 30 grams of the orangey yellow red, which is way less than the pattern asked for, especially because I used quite a bit of these in the border. So I'd say that, especially because in my Ravelry page I wrote how much of each accent color I used, like of each yarn, but of each accent color I used. I think this pattern is kind of great for yarn scraps, but yeah, I did not use the amount she suggested for. So when I started these blankets, I started with the main color, and then my first accent is not black, white. And as you can see, there is not a lot of contrast, but when I had just my cream and my white, I was like, oh, this is going to be a really soft colored blanket. But then I added the orange and I was like, oh, this is intense. The white is almost invisible here. And I was thinking about frogging, well, going all the way back to the white and, I don't know, choosing another color, but I couldn't do it. So I left the white, and I think that instead of the white, now that it's done, instead of white, I should have chosen like yarn from the same line but green. Let me show you the yarn because I have a lot of leftover. So these are the cream and the white from the Hobie Black Friday cotton. I have the white and the cream here, natural white. Yes, this is the yellow and this is the orange. The yellow is the Hobie Friends cotton 8/4 print in the color 01 Summer Sunrise. You can see the different yellows. And this is Hobie Rainbow Cotton 8/4 print in the color 12 Lana. And if you can see here, if you imagine this in a green colorway, I think it would have been better. But I couldn't bring myself to frog all of that. And also I thought I was going to use up more white, which was my goal. So in the end, I still really like these blankets. I don't really know what I'm gonna do with it. My mom said that I could still give it to my friend for the next baby, but to me it's kinda strange, I have to say. So I don't know yet. Also, I still have to block it. Next is a half-finished object, and it's halfway done because it's a sock. So the finished object obviously is going to be a pair of socks, but I only have one for now. These are toe-up socks, and for that I chose to follow the Go Your Own Way socks pattern from Stacy Winklepleck, if that's how you say it, and I used the Hobie Happy Toes yarn in the colorway One Magic Trick, and these are 50-gram balls, which were like you can buy with points. There is also in the same colorway in a 100-gram skein, the exact same, but I did this because I wanted to try, like, this is only my second sock, my second sock project. My first, I think it was in DK yarn, and this one is in fingering, and I wanted to see if with my first sock project I wanted to see if I liked knitting sock, and for this one I wanted to see if I liked knitting finger wing weight sock. And it doesn't bother me, but it hurts my hands on the other side, because I hold my yarn with these two fingers, and because the yarn is so fine I hold on pretty tightly, and right now when I do this really tightly it kind of hurts. I think I have found another way to hold my yarn though, so that's perfect. Still the English way, I cannot do continental. So anyway, I started this sock on January 27th, and I finished this sock on February 4th. I have not started the second sock, not because of the second sock syndrome, just because my fingers were hurting too much to knit, so I've been crocheting a lot. The other reason why my fingers hurt is because of this half-finished object, which is a raglan sweater, which is gonna get frogged. So first, let me talk about this. So this is the Southwood sweater by Gold House of Yarn. And this is my first, this is my first time trying to knit a sweater. I have two other sweaters, like handmade, but they are crocheted. This is my first knitted sweater. Why? Like, I mean, I have cast off the body, but the problem, I have quite a few problems with this project, and this is why it's gonna get frogged. I swatched this and I met a gauge, so I was quite confident, and I started to work on this. So I cast it on and worked on the color and started the short rows. When I finished the short rows, I checked my gauge again and I was on track. So I continued knitting it around, did the body, did the stripes, learned to do the Italian bind off, or I think this is the Italian bind off, or maybe this is just the tubular bind off. Anyway, I learned to do that, so at least that's one positive. When I cast off the body, I decided to try it on, and it was so big, which I could not understand. So I decided to check my gauge, and the original gauge is, I think, 18 stitches to 24 rows. Here at the bottom of the body I'm at 15 stitches per 10 centimeters. Here in the middle I'm at 17 stitches, and here in the back where I did the short rows I'm on gauge at 18 stitches per 10 centimeters. So my gauge relaxed quite a bit along the way, and that's the problem. It's way too big. I added a little mod where I wanted it to be just a little bit A-lined, but because my gauge relaxed a lot, it's just too big now. Also, I added stripes, which I calculated where I wanted it to be, and I mean I tracked it, but when I tried it, it just looks bad. The stripes are way too low. It's not flattering at all, like at all. Also, I think the collar is too wide. It is a crew neck, but I like a pretty, not tight crew neck, but it opened too much. So now that I have knit all of this, I'm going to frog it. I really don't like the results, but I have also learned quite a bit. I'm going to try again, but the thing I will do differently is I think I'm gonna knit the collar after the body with a row of single crochet so it doesn't stretch that much. Also, the thing I have learned is that my knits are looser than my purls, which is why when I was doing like the shoulder shaping, I was knitting back and forth. So I was, well, I was meeting gauge. But as soon as I went in the round, my gauge loosened. Yes, I did swatch, but not in the round. I was too lazy for that. Also, the thing is, this is another project, but I need to show the needles. So these are the needles I used. These are 5mm Knit Pro needles, and they are, I think, wood needles. And the yarn here is also from Hobby. This is the Bingo XL yarn. This is 100% acrylic. I think my problem is, I'm going to say this acrylic is not really smooth on the needle. So what happened is my hands were getting more and more tired. Maybe my fingers were starting to hurt, and so I think I tried to relax to not hurt my fingers, but then my gauge went, I don't know, out the window. So I think what I'm gonna do is buy 5mm metal needles, and I think using that, hopefully I will stay with the same gauge. In the meantime, I'm going to frog this and rewind all the yarn. Also, I'm going to put this on my body and look at where the stripes are and when and where I want them in the end, so when I start this over I know exactly. So I only have two other projects right now. I have this, which does not look like a lot for now, but this is the start of a tote bag. So a few months ago I did the Malia shoulder bag by Rebecca Langford, and I really liked the results, and I wanted to do another one for my godmother. I just, the bottom, I wanted something in around, so I looked on the internet for a tutorial for a rectangular bottom, and this is what I have. I'm almost done with that ball of yarn, and then I'm going to switch to a light gray. This so far is the Hobby Friends Cotton 8/4 print in the color, no, it's not the Friends Cotton. This is the Hobby Rainbow Cotton 8/4 print in the color 20 and Sophie. Which is why I chose it for my godmother, and also because that's her, like, she likes this color combination, so like the blue, green, gray. And the next one is a sweater. This one is obviously worked flat, so it's worked in pieces. This is a pattern from Fil d'Art, which is also the brand of the yarn, and if you can recognize this yarn, this is the yarn I use to make my high school scarf. The reason why I started this project, which I in theory finished a few months ago, but then I frogged it because I did not like the results. I've wanted to do this pattern for quite a while. Well, this is not really the pattern. The pattern, original pattern, has intarsia, but I did not want to do intarsia. I like intarsia, but I don't know, for a sweater I was not ready to do it. But I'm still following the instructions, just not doing the color work of it. So in total, with my finished objects, I'm not counting my sock. I'm going to count it when I have the second sock. So the two baby blankets, I used up 2,196 meters of yarn, and in total I have 15,427 meters of yarn. So I still have to use up 26,768 meters of yarn to, well, finish with this challenge, even though I'm sure I'm going to continue crocheting and knitting because, well, I really like manual activities, and I don't know, I love it so far. Also, I like talking about how much yarn I have, my yarn stash, because it was pretty small at the beginning of this challenge, and now it is pretty much out of control, so I am also using this challenge to get it back into control. But I also bought these two balls of yarn. These are from Lang Yarns, and this is the yarn Frida, which is 100% I think merino superwash wool. Yes, I bought two because I wanted to make a shawl for one of my aunts, and she's white. I wanted a shawl with really soft colors, so these are the same. These are from the same bath, but I tried to find a pattern which would work with these. I don't think I have found something I like, so this is just going to go into my stash, I guess. These are my only acquisition. So in my last update I had, well, 221.35 balls of yarn, and now I have 210, and I had 40,872 meters of yarn, and now I have 38,983 meters of yarn. Hopefully it will continue to go down. Alright, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I will link my playlist in the description box. Don't forget to check out the hashtag as well. You're going to find other people doing this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.